Alright, big package was delivered yesterday, and that's what was in it. A nice new Chevy grill. Like I said, with the other grill I ruined it by using Duplicolor's color matching paint on it, which I don't care how much you prime, you can never get Duplicolor to actually work right. Nothing can be painted over the top of it, so I'm going to start from scratch. I am tempted, I'm tempted to leave this black. But I wouldn't leave the bare plastic black. I would actually have to go get some of the Duplicolor bed liner like I've got on there and do that. And since I don't have that, I don't plan on going anywhere today. I'm done going places. I'm not going to do that. So today I'm just going to prep this for paint. Ooh, can I get in here to see this? So my grill, I've got these little, they're aluminum bars in there. I like those better. I've got my black Chevy emblem. There's the Duplicolor problem I'm talking about. It just won't stick. Sand it, prime it, whatever, it comes off. It eventually comes off. I mean, everywhere. I think I do want the gray. I think the gray will fit the looks of this truck better. Bumpers that I'll get this winter, they're going to be all black and replace a lot of this. But yeah, so I need to do the cutout and get these out and get that. Obviously my side markers and all that kind of stuff. But you can almost get a hint right here of how I do grills on these GMT 400s. You notice I'm missing a piece here. And I do that on purpose. You can almost see the bracket here and here. So I do 4 brackets that I bend up out of aluminum. I drill a hole here so it's easier to get to that 7mm nut that's back there than trying to get through after you've removed this. But yeah, with those, that's how I do it. So I don't have to have that little filler piece. And I did that a long time ago because I was always planning on replacing this stock bumper for a trail ready bumper. So yeah, this video I'll show you how I do that and what that looks like. Well, not really how I do it because I've already bent those up, but you can see with a piece of strap aluminum like that, real easy to do yourselves. I'll show you how to rivet them in so they actually stay. But you notice it does make this thing pretty freaking solid. It doesn't rattle around like that other filler piece a lot of times because you get a connection point in here. Those things rattle a lot. This is pretty freaking solid. It doesn't move at all, and I like it that way better. So as I'm redoing this grill, I'll show you how that's done. I have no clue where to get those from. They may have come from the dealership or something like that. They're a simple bar stock, but I like them. I like them better than the factory one. Not quite a billet grill, but close enough. I've got them colored and they're covered in the same Duplicolor stuff as I did there. Oh, I probably should have gotten another can of it just to cover it up, but it's not bad if it's flaking off because it's aluminum, I think. Pretty certain it is because I've never seen rust on it. But I do like how solid that actually ends up. Yeah, gray. Definitely going to do gray. One, because I've got the primer and paint right now, and today and tomorrow are 2 of the last good paint days. So today I'll paint that up, and then tomorrow I'll disassemble this and reassemble it with that. Let this thing cure up overnight and harden up. But basically, you're going to remove this tab, and this tab that all fit in with that factory one, and the new brackets go about here and here, and then go to the factory mounting points. I don't remember if I have one there. I'm not sure. It may be just those 4. But to do this, you're going to want to get a tool of your choice. I'm going to pull out my plunge cut saw and I'm going to slice these and get this grill out. Sand all that down nice and smooth so those inserts will fit. And then scuff everything, clean everything off, prime it, then paint it. So this will be a couple hours of work, but I think in the end it'll look good. I was tempted to go with a GMC style grill, but nah, I'm just going to keep it Chevy. So, alright, here I go. Alright, so that plunge saw, wow, much neater. When I did this 6-7 years ago with that grill, I didn't have a plunge saw. I think I used my hand hacksaw. The plunge saw zips it. And if you can see in there, it does actually cut through a little bit, leave that gap. But the screws for that other insert piece go there, and they have clips that go on there. so it should be okay. Has been for the last 6 or 7 years since I did this. But yeah, I just need to sand all that out, make it a little smoother. Sticks a little proud there. Close enough though. I'll get a file and file that down by hand. Sand all that. Then I'll just take my regular red Scotch-Brite. They're what, 320 grit, thereabouts. Scuff the heck out of everything, wash it down, and paint it. Alright. So basically try to remove all the shine. Make sure you got a good etch, key, scratch, scuff, whatever you want to call it. But all the shine is removed. That gives the primer the best chance of sticking. Looks like that corner in there could use a little bit more. Shouldn't point with the camera. Should show, right? Maybe a little bit around there. So maybe just a little bit more. That's why the air hose is nice to have, so you can dust it off and then see where you're at. But yeah, maybe a little bit more scuffing in a couple places, and then I'll be ready to hose it down with some primer. Alright, here we go. Okay, yeah, I do use Windex. Prep spray and all that kind of stuff, that's all fun and good, but what worries me about prep spray is on a purely plastic piece like this, you might have some of that xylene, xylol, whatever else is in there actually start eating into the plastic, melting it, bubbling it, doing whatever. So using Windex, pretty dang safe on plastic. It's not going to do any funky chemical reactions with it, and it dries fast. I helped it along there obviously with my compressed air. But yeah, this is all dry, it's ready to go. I'm going to hose it down with some primer now. Okay, for this particular one, I'm going to use the Rustoleum filler primer. Do I have a reason for that? Yeah, because it's the only can of primer I got left other than self-etching primer. And self-etching primer, same reason. Don't know what that etching chemical will do to the plastic. So this can is what I've got. This can is what I'm going to use. And the filler primer is probably kind of appropriate here. Any scratches that might be in here, it should fill it all in nice and neat. But I would honestly prefer just the straight automotive primer from Rustoleum Rattle Cans, but this will work. It'll do the trick. Should be enough in that can to be able to hose all the angles of this. Let that sit for probably about 10 minutes, let it flash off, and then you can start top coating immediately. So here we go. Alright, there you go. Better part of a can to get that done. Start out just light coats at first, and as you're going side to side, it dries fast enough in this, well, low humidity Utah place that you can keep going until you get wet build up all over it. You don't want to, obviously want to try to avoid runs. You don't want to build up too fast, but usually works about that well for me. That should do it. I'm going to let it flash for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go start hitting it with the regular Rustoleum. Alright, here we go. That's probably a can and 3/4 is what I used on it. It's like touching somewhere it doesn't show up if it's still. No, it seems pretty dang dry. Turned out really glossy. I like it. Very, very little orange peel in it. It's probably not the best lighting for you to see that, but my goodness, that's fantastic. Rustoleum on plastic is fantastic. But yeah, this would be a good start. Tomorrow I'll rip apart all of the grill that's on the truck and stick this on. But yeah, this is good. And when I'm doing this, you know, a can and a half, can and 3/4, what was in there, might seem excessive, but that's on the front of the truck. And that's going to be eating a lot of road debris and sand and everything else this winter. So excessive is probably good, because obviously I was not excessive enough on this one. Granted, that does say something for the durability of that duplicolor stuff, because you don't see it chipping through to that, and that's not going anywhere past that, just the Rustoleum I did over the top. Maybe, just maybe, if I'd have done more coats of primer, maybe a self-etch primer, I'm not sure. Either way, this one's going to get put on the shelf and the new one's going to get put on, so then I know I've got a truck that's going to stay gray and black and none of this white crap coming through. But that's all for tomorrow, and then this whole adventure of painting my truck with Rustoleum Rattle Cans will be over. Alright, for those that have been around the block a couple times for this truck, it's going to be obviously old hat that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 7mm hex screws, whatever you want to call those things, up at the top. And then you all would have to do something different because of what I've done. I've got some down at the bottom. So you're going to need to strip out the blinker lights. You pull those out, they're just Phillips screws. Pull those out and then you can get to all the stuff that's behind there. For me, it's just the 1, 2 on each side of the blinker. So I'm going to start pulling all that apart. Okay, so you can see in there, there's a bracket. And if I can get the glare off of that, holy cow. Where's that glare coming from? Outside? Oh, that's a funky glare. I don't know where it's coming from. But you can see there's a bracket I built right there, and a bracket I built right there. So yeah, just 2 pieces of strap aluminum. They're what, 1/8 inch aluminum. Bend them up and then rivet them to this. But yeah, I'll show you all that in just a second. So that's what I got to pull out. And you can see I put a hole in this one so I can get to that. May not do that in the new grill. On my Tahoe I did that. I put holes here and here so I could just get the grill without even having to. So that way I was able, without even having to unclip the stuff that goes on the original factory piece down there. But alright, I'm gonna keep going. Actually, the next thing I probably need to do before I can get this grill off is take off my aux beam light bar. So that's the next part, and that's the one that's kind of difficult. So here we go. When you got it this far apart, you just reach down in here, twist those out. So I've got everything disconnected. Again, holy crap, you can't see nothing there, but twist it out. And then you are free and clear. Lighting in this garage sucks. Sorry about that. But you see what I'm talking about with the brackets I made here and here. Now, I am surprised they held on as long as they did, because when I put these in, I skipped an important step that I'll show you in a second. Those of you with good eyes will see it already. When you're riveting something on. Yeah, see that? They don't hold, but they didn't have to hold that direction. There is a way to make riveted from metal to plastic actually a lot more solid, and I'll show you that in just a second. So from here on out, I just got to disassemble. I want these brackets off. I want these off, the end reflectors and lights. I want these metal, I don't know if you really call this billet. They're more like a bar stock kind of thing. I like them though, so I want those off. So it's just disassembly and reassembly back on to the new grill. So I'm going to get after it. And this might seem like common sense, but as you're taking things off, you remove it from this one. You notice I've got them oriented basically the same way. So I can take it off of here, immediately put it on here. And I'm not going to use anything but hand tools. use a power tool and you're likely to snap something. Ask me how I know. These little things are just a stamped nut type deal. Let me get you here. There we go. And they just come off. So you gotta be careful with all this stuff. You can and will snap one of those posts that these little things hook onto. Again, ask me how I know. Try to get them by hand. There we go. And I dropped it. But yeah, just those little nut hats. And when you're doing that, it just makes it that much easier to make sure you're getting it back exactly where it goes. It fits, it looks nice, does what you need it to do. You put those on the back side, and I'll crank it down by hand. So again, piece comes off of here, it immediately goes back onto there. No confusion, no problems. Makes it easy. Took very little force to get those off. And if you know what I'm thinking about, you know why. And you know how I'm going to fix it in a second. This one, because that rivet bent over to the side, is actually holding pretty neatly. But this one, boom, comes right out in your hand. Oops, shouldn't mix those up. This one, let's see. I don't want to break the grill. It's waste not, want not. I may have to get in there and buzz it off with something. Get some clippers or something. But yeah, that one's only holding because the rivet went to the side for some weird reason. The other one's barely holding. And there is a way to fix that when you're doing metal to plastic. And I didn't do it the first time. Because in the first time, 3 years ago, I was in a hurry. Which is, I was just excited to get it done. I don't think I had anything really pressing. But yeah, let me get all this done. Noticing some differences here. Notice this does not exist here. So this one's got a better mold. That will hold better. You can see this one's cracking because there's not a lot of material above it. That'll hold better. I kind of like that. Small difference, but it probably makes a big difference in the end. Otherwise, basically the same molding, same casting, whatever it is they use to do these. Alright, I'm going to get to it. Raise your hand if you like drilling out rivets. They always got to fight, but I win. Got them out. Now this kind of makes me laugh. I open up my rivet box, and what do I find in the bottom? That is what I forgot last time. So you'll have the bracket, plastic, and then a washer should go on top. And that will clamp between two pieces of metal, the plastic, thereby relieving a lot of the stress. And you won't have the potential of snapping your plastic as bad or pulling out of the rivet hole. Obviously you saw last night when I had this thing on there, it was still pretty freaking solid even though these had some play in it. So obviously it didn't matter about up and down movement, it was just in and out that it kept it in there. So we'll just make it even more solid now. Especially if I keep having a habit of blasting down all these nasty bumpy fire roads, I'm going to want it to be as solid as it can be. So, alright, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to figure out where these brackets were at on the old grill and put them on the new grill, and then I'll be able to replace it. Now, it's going to be a daunting task to get these holes exactly in the same spot on here. So what I'm hoping will save me is I made these a lot bigger than they need to be on that side, so they'll attach to the radiator support with a little bit of play. So I just need to get them as close as I can. I'll measure carefully and see if I can't get them relatively close. But yeah, this right here is how you solve the problem of losing that little wind strip or whatever the heck that freaking piece is that goes on, clips onto here when you do an aftermarket bumper. And that's kind of what I'm prepping for, because I will be putting trail ready bumpers on this truck this winter if the gods are in my favor. But yeah, alright, let's get to work, get those holes drilled. Alright, when I originally did it, I just used these rivets. But I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking I need to go longer and bigger rivets here, so it will actually have a chance of grabbing the other side of that. You can have the aluminum, the plastic, and then the washer. You need to make sure it grabs all of that and clamps it all together. Alright, there we go. Nice and secure. They are secure, secure. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you join metal to plastic. Big giant rivets, washers on the other side so you clamp in between. That is solid just about every which way, which means the connection for this grill will be good. The only one I had a problem with, right there, you can tell, that didn't quite get it. I'm going to leave it though because it's still pretty freaking good and clamped on just by one of them. But yeah, that one actually ended up pretty dang solid too. So this grill is ready to go back on. Yes, yes it is. Other side note to make. I'm going to change these little bulbs, these 194 normal bulbs out for some of these Sylvania LED ones. Give them a try. I'm looking at them, and the bases of these things look just like the bases on all those Parts Am or other ones you get off of Amazon. The bases look the same. They have this little diffuser dome on the top of them. The thing I'm looking at is they're shorter and smaller. I'm betting there's only one LED chip inside there, but that diffuser will glow the light around. So the last chips I got, the last LEDs I got were too long, and so they wouldn't fit in that space. So these should do the trick, but these aren't going to operate right away off the bat because I'm got issues with the side mirrors tapped into the lines for these, cause problems, and I'll solve that in another video when I go and figure out the wiring for those and make them work the way I want them to. Stay tuned for that video. For now, I'm just going to put those in, put everything back together, get my truck ready to roll again. And then later, I'll show you how that lights up, and then later we'll be able to evaluate if these bulbs are actually any good. Sylvania, good name brand, but I'm looking at it and it looks like the same parts, same bases as all the other cheapo ones. So hopefully their internals are better. So we'll see. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Look at that, they're working. They're pretty good bright LED light bulbs. That diffuser makes it go around pretty good. That should look good in the truck. I'm guessing by putting LEDs, I changed the resistance on that line, and now it'll work in conjunction with the mirrors lights. So that's, yeah, put that note in your bucket too, that if you're doing those tow mirrors, switch these to LEDs, and I think it'll all work. We'll try, when I get it all put back together, we'll see if the function's working, turn signals and everything. Oh, bad light there, sorry. But yeah, if we can get the turn signals to blink and everything, we'll see. Well, lighting as always sucks. I don't have professional camera gear, but this is it. Let's see if we get down. Yeah, I don't know how well you're going to see that, but in my view it looks freaking awesome. But nice and tight in there. I didn't drill any holes in here like I did before. It just means I had to get back there with a 7mm wrench and just hand tighten it, which kind of sucked. Why? Well, that's funny. There's the cap to the light bulb in there. I guess I may need to get in there and see if I can put that back on. Well, those are the aux beam lights. It looks like it rattled loose. You always find something. But yeah, so there it is, it's done. But yeah, came this far. That's what I do with grills, and that's how I take care of grills. And probably give you a pointer for what to do if you're doing an aftermarket bumper and not going to have that little windshield thing they put in there, that filler piece or whatever you want to call it. I almost forgot. I wanted to answer that question. Yeah, now my side marker light, which was out with a regular incandescent bulb because I think the resistance load on the circuit was too much. Because you tap these ones into that light circuit, to this circuit. And obviously now switching those out with LEDs, it all works like it was supposed to. I should have hit the other deal, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this side will work the same too. That is actually something that makes me happy. Simply switching to some LEDs brought the resistance level down to its design specs, and boom, it works. Works that side and that side. So that might change some of what I was planning on doing with this whole circuit and might actually make it easier. Because I am going to do something with my lights on my mirrors. That's another video in the future. But yeah, that answers that question in case I didn't want to leave anybody on a cliffhanger on that one. Alright, hold the phone. That's working like I wanted to do, but check this out. Only 4 of the 8 LEDs are running in here. Don't know if that has anything to do with what I just did or if that's just a fault. Either way, I'll dig into this later. So that kind of is a little bit of a bummer. It's not fully operational on that mirror, but back to how it was in the factory. And I would say for these Sylvanias, those little Sylvania LEDs, Walmart's, AutoZone, wherever else you want to get them, I like them. Look how bright that thing is. It's pretty dang good. Alright, so this is a lot like my S10 behaved when I added some lights up on above the fender on the S10. Put them, if it was the S10, about right there. Unless your marker lights are on, that's not going to work. And it's showing that is 4 bulbs out there. That's how the S10 works. Its side marker won't work unless I've got the marker lights on. So, I think I'm back to what I was thinking about doing with these. And I'll show that in the video when I show how I'm going to correct what I don't like in the function of these mirrors. It may bring everything back to the way I wanted it. Or partially. I don't know. We'll see. Well, yeah, that's as far as I'm going today. So, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.